There once lived a young man named James. James lived in a village far away from the bustling city. It was a quiet place where life moved at its own pace, nestled between snow-capped mountains and a sparkling lake that shimmered under the sun. This lake, now known as the Blue Lake, was the heart of their world. Its waters were so pure that they reflected the sky like a mirror, and its depths held secrets as old as time itself. Every day, the villagers flocked to the lake's edge. Some would take a dip in its freezing cold water, while others cast their nets into the deep, hoping for a bountiful catch. Children would play by its shores, their laughter echoing across the water, and the elderly would sit quietly, watching the endless dance of sunlight and water. To them, the lake was more than just a body of water. It was a lifeline, a source of food, and most importantly, a silent witness to their lives. But as the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness blanketed the land, the lake underwent a mysterious transformation. A strange mist rolled in, hiding the lake's surface in an eerie haze. And when the moon took its place in the star-studded sky, the lake came alive with otherworldly lights that rippled and shimmered on the surface. Villagers would hurry home, locking their doors and windows tight against the night. And any who dared to stay behind would tell tales of whispers carried on the wind, of shadows dancing on the mist, and of strange lights beckoning from the depths. These stories, passed down through generations, painted a picture of the lake at night as a place of enchantment and danger, a realm where reality blurred and dreams could turn into nightmares. One evening, James and his best friend Elena decided to uncover the truth. Armed with a lantern and a fishing boat, they ventured onto the lake. As they navigated the placid waters, the strange lights grew brighter and more enticing. Elena, her face pale in the flickering lantern light, gripped the oars tightly. She couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. Then suddenly, as if awakened from a dream, she turned to James, her eyes wide with wonder. "James, look!" she whispered, her voice barely audible above the lapping water. "Look at the lake!" James followed her gaze to the center of the lake, where a scene unfolded that defied belief. Beneath the rippling water, there lay a grand palace made of gold, its spires and turrets gleaming like beacons in the night. It was as if a jewel had been dropped into the lake and frozen in time. Elena and James stared in disbelief. Was it real or a figment of their imagination? Fear warred with curiosity within them. They knew the villagers' warnings, the stories of those who disappeared while chasing the lake's elusive lights. Yet here they were, drawn to the very thing that had become a thing of nightmares. As the minutes ticked by, the allure of the Golden Palace grew stronger, pulling them deeper into its watery embrace. Elena felt a shiver run down her spine, but she couldn't tear her eyes away from the mesmerizing sight before them. James, too, was captivated. The sight was both enchanting and terrifying, like staring into the heart of a sleeping dragon. He could feel the ancient power emanating from the submerged palace, calling to something deep within him. The decision to go further was almost made for them. With hearts pounding in their chests, they steered the boat towards the middle of the lake. The water around them seemed to change, becoming glass-like and reflecting their distorted images back at them. It was as if the lake itself was preparing them for what was to come. As they neared the center, the image of the Golden Palace shifted and grew, becoming clearer and larger until it loomed right beneath their boat. And then, just as suddenly, a change came over the lake's surface. The water rippled and parted as if someone had lifted the top off a hidden abyss. A golden doorway, adorned with intricate carvings, emerged from the depths, beckoning them closer. With a mixture of fear and excitement, James and Elena found themselves drawn to the mysterious portal. The sight before them was both breathtaking and terrifying, like stepping into a fairy tale where the line between magic and danger was razor thin. James, his gaze fixed on the golden doorway, felt a strange pull, as if the palace itself was reaching out to him, eager to reveal its secrets. Could this be the key to unlocking the lake's mysteries? Or was he merely succumbing to the very forces that had ensnared so many before him? Meanwhile, Elena, her heart pounding against her ribs, tried to rein in James's growing fascination. She knew the legends, the tales of how the Blue Lake had claimed those who dared to enter its watery depths. But James, lost in the mesmerizing spectacle, didn't seem to care. His eyes, wide with wonder and a hint of fear, were locked on the doorway as if transfixed by some unseen force. She reached out to him, her touch a desperate plea for him to reconsider. But James, seemingly oblivious to her touch, continued to stare at the opening, his expression a mix of awe and apprehension. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on Elena. On one hand, she shared James's curiosity about the lake, and the allure of the Golden Palace was hard to resist. Yet, she also knew the price that had been paid by those who had dared to venture into the lake's embrace only to vanish without a trace. She glanced at James, his face illuminated by the eerie glow of the lake, and realized that no amount of pleading would sway him. The decision, she knew, ultimately rested with James. The choice to step through the golden doorway and into the unknown was his alone. And with that realization came a surge of determination in Elena's heart. She wouldn't let James face this danger alone. Her loyalty to her friend was as steadfast as the mountains that stood guard over their village. Taking a deep breath, Elena steadied herself and turned back to face the lake. She knew that whatever lay beyond that golden doorway, she would face it with courage and determination, ready to support her friend through whatever perils awaited them in the heart of the Blue Lake. As James and Elena approached the golden door, they felt an overwhelming sense of anticipation mixed with a healthy dose of fear. The closer they got, the more the palace seemed to come alive, its presence both fascinating and intimidating. James, unable to contain his curiosity any longer, extended his hand and gently touched the cool, smooth surface of the door. In that instant, everything changed. The boat lurched violently, pitching them forward. Time seemed to stop as the world around them dissolved into chaos. The last thing James remembered was the surprised gasp escaping his lips before everything went black. When James opened his eyes, he found himself lying on soft, verdant grass. Disoriented, he sat up and looked around. He was in a place like no other. A magnificent garden filled with exotic plants and luminous flowers that shimmered in the moonlight. The air was filled with the intoxicating fragrance of 1,000 blooms, creating an atmosphere of surreal beauty. He turned to Elena, who was also slowly coming to her senses. She looked around in awe, her eyes wide with wonder. "James, look," she whispered, her voice echoing the sentiment in his own heart. "Where are we?" He wanted to reach out to her, to offer comfort and reassurance. But his hand stopped in midair as he noticed something strange. Elena's form was beginning to shimmer, as if she were made of moonlight and mist. Panic surged through him. Had they somehow entered the realm of dreams? Were they now trapped in a world where the rules of reality were suspended? Suddenly, a gentle voice echoed through the garden, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Welcome to the Blue Lake," it said, its tone as soothing as the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze, "where beauty is a trap and dreams become reality." James and Elena whirled around, trying to locate the source of the voice, but saw no one. The garden, with its ethereal beauty, seemed to hold its breath, its inhabitants frozen in an eternal slumber. Elena's form flickered again, and this time James could make out distinct faces appearing in the shimmering light, each one filled with a haunting sadness. They were trapped in the Blue Lake's domain, and their dreams were the price of admission. With a start, James realized they weren't just in a dream, they were part of it. The lake, it seemed, had woven their desires into its fabric, but not for their benefit. Each face, each story was a testament to that. They were the souls who had ventured into the lake's embrace and never returned, trapped forever in this world of eternal twilight. Desperation clawed at James's throat. He had to wake Elena up, pull her back to reality before it was too late. But as he reached out to her, his fingers passed straight through her shimmering form. It was as if she were made of smoke and shadows. He stumbled back, his heart sinking as he realized the gravity of their situation. The Blue Lake had claimed Elena, and unless he could find a way to escape this dreamlike realm, he would lose her forever.